Warning. The following program contains strong language and subject matter which may be offensive to some viewers and/or inappropriate for children. The content within this program is intended for mature audiences only.
Hi, Barbie! Welcome to Inside the Drag Closet, the interactive podcast where we talk about all things drag and some things that aren't. Who knows? We're really just here to have a pink time. On Wednesdays, we wear pink. We have an amazing episode planned for you this evening. All the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota, we are joined by the incredible Dramatica this evening. I am super excited for all of you to meet her. It is going to be a kiki and a half. Of course, we've got the incredible Amethyst Diamond right there. She is here. A couple people popping in already. Jess is here. Evelyn Phantasma with a hi, Barbie. Hi, Jade Barbie. Oh yeah, we wanted to give you a little Barbie tonight, but we're going to start off with a little who, what, where. Who am I? My name is Jade Veer. I am a drag performer based out of Pennsylvania. I love the art of drag because it allows me to live in a Barbie world. I'm going to be making Barbie references this entire episode. Just make peace with it now. It's going to happen. What am I wearing? I am giving you a lot of Barbie this evening. I am wearing a lovely outfit from this very upscale boutique. You might have heard of them. It's called Fashion Nova. Look it up. Get with it. My hair is from Webster Wigs. I absolutely love this hair. This is my tinsel hair. So much fun. I wanted to do this look because I am doing that show again on Friday. My nails, it just dawned on me I never did my nails tonight, so we're going to keep our hands down there. And my jewelry was a lovely Christmas gift from my incredible husband. It's a beautiful set by the incredible Raving Diva Jewels. Michelle Lee Sterling created this jewelry set. I absolutely love it. I love some purple. My makeup tonight, my makeup is Wet n Wild. My eyes are completely by Kimchi Chic. My cheeks are Juvia's Place. My lips are the Lip Bar. Actually, no, they're not entirely the Lip Bar. My liner is Lip Bar, and the other one is Kylie tonight. I don't even know. I change up my lips so infrequently. I got so confused. But last but not least, where can you find me? Well, you can find me every other Wednesday here on Inside the Drag Closet, available on Facebook and YouTube. We are live every other week. You can find me next Friday at Divas Down Under. It's our 7th anniversary drag show with Alizela Diamond, Amethyst Diamond, myself, Morgan, Poison, and Katarina Couture. It is going to be an incredible show. We are pulling out all the stops for this show. We are so grateful that Miss Gay Pennsylvania America, Morgan will be joining us. At the end of January, you can actually catch myself and Amethyst down at the 50/50 Tap House in Winchester, Virginia, with the newly crowned Miss Gay Maryland America, Stormy. Oh my God, Stormy Sky. I totally just blanked on her last name for some reason. And of course, our beautiful host, Chastity Vane, will be there as well. It is drag and bingo. So buckle up, everybody. It's going to be a fun evening. Oh, we got people coming out of the woodwork tonight. Oh, the House of Diamond is in the house tonight. So we've got Sanika Diamond saying hi, and Cassie is here as well. Hello, darling. Oh, I love that. Stormy was here just in time for me to blank on her last name. That's great. I don't even know why. That was such a weird thing to happen. Miss Gay, Maryland, America, 2023. Yes, Miss Stormy Sky. I am so excited to work together. I think we've only worked together once, and it was at a Pride event, and it was so in passing. So I was probably like, oh, you're Stormy. Hi, get on stage. Yeah, it's going to be a fun night. Speaking of a fun night, let me bring in our beautiful co-host for the evening. You know her and love her. She is my sister from another mister. Put your hands together for the incredible Amethyst Diamond. Look at all that pink.
This is way too much pink for me, bitch.
But it looks so good on you.
Oh, I'm so delicious. Hi, sissy. How you doing tonight?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's almost the end of the year. The holidays are almost behind us. And yeah, I'm ready for a fresh start in January. Let's do it.
Indeed. It is our last episode of 2023, too.
I know. I know. And what number episode is this?
137.
137 episodes. Oh my gosh. That's crazy to think that.
Wild.
I love that. I love that. We have so many people to thank for that, but we will get to that.
Indeed. Why don't you give everybody a little who, what, where about you?
Absolutely. What's up, my friends, my family, my loved ones? It is your girl, Amethyst Diamond, coming to you live from South Central Pennsylvania. Been doing this drag gig for about 24 years. I love everything about it because you love everything about it, which makes me love it even more. What am I wearing tonight? This beautiful pink wig is from Memphis Alvarez. Memphis Divine, I believe, on Instagram. The earrings and the ring are from Cali Black. The necklace is from a store called City Trends. And this gown is from Miriam Luciano. And this cup is brought to you by Starbucks. They aren't paying us to say that, unfortunately.
That's true.
But we don't want them to sponsor us anyway, do we?
I'm all right with it. I'll take any sponsorship I can
She's
get.
okay with it. All right, good. Where can you find me? You can find me right here every other Wednesday on Inside the Drag Closet, live on Facebook at 8:30 p.m. You can find me on Instagram at amethyst_diamond1, and you can find me on Facebook under Amethyst Diamond. And everywhere, MasterCard, Visa, and Discover are accepted.
All of that.
Look, times are hard, girl.
That's very true. Speaking of which, you and I just had an incredible time down in Rehoboth.
Didn't we, though? We had the cutest time. Are you able to play that video on here or no? You can't play our TikTok?
Yeah, we put one on Facebook, and then there was one just for our Patreons, which thank you again to Jess, Jake, Lori, Orion, Corey, Brian, Jeremy, Estee, Josh, Chanel, Daniel, Robin, Vicky, and Emily.
You know, nobody can segue like you do. You know that.
I'm getting really good at this gig.
She doesn't burn bridges. She creates them. I love it. Look at all the kids that are in the house tonight. All my kids are here. Sanika's here. Alize's here. Oh.
Look at that. Looking like a pink puss.
Looking like a whole, yeah, one of them. I ain't got a bra on or nothing, Jesus. Just tit and lip gloss tonight. That's all you getting, kids. This look is inspired by my successor, Miss Gay Maryland America 2023, Stormy Sky. I wanted to give a little pink realness. I love how she does her eyes sometimes, so I was like, you know what? Tonight's for Stormy. Why not?
She's just beautiful.
She is beautiful, and she has a hell of a year ahead of her. She is gearing up for Miss Gay America. She is 25 years old. She's been doing drag for a year and a half, and she just won Miss Gay Maryland America. Hold on, sister. Hold on tight, because you got a ride ahead of you, but that's okay. We got your back. We love you, and we support you. No worries. We got you, baby. So we're excited to have you in our family. So welcome.
Speaking of people we are excited to have this evening, put some more gloss on, girl. Put some more gloss on.
That's all I have on.
I've been having such a wonderful kiki before the show with our wonderful special guest for this evening. Speaking of pageantry, she is no stranger to the pageantry game. So get your questions ready, everybody. As soon as you're ready, just ask us those questions, because we are going to welcome to Inside the Drag Closet the incredible Dramatica.
Hi.
Oh, the glamour. The glamour. Serve the children, honey.
So, Dramatica, why don't you give us a little who, what, where about you?
Well, sure. I'm 43 years old.
We're still here.
Okay. I am 43, so I barely know how to turn a computer on. But I am 43. I live here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Like she said, I've been in the art of female impersonation for just over 20 years. I do love pageantry. When I do take all of this off, I am just a fat 43-year-old man that loves hot dish. You know, I am Swedish and German. I am from the Midwest. Makeup I'm wearing, I love Juvia's Place. I love MAC. I love my foundation is Dermablend. I love I actually follow all of the drama on social media, so I love to give money to people that I shouldn't be giving money to and people that I do give money to. So it's awesome. I love drag. My gown I'm wearing tonight is actually by Danielle Vasquez from Akron. Danielle's amazing. Her drag is the epitome of what I love about drag. It's over the top. It's awesome. Earrings, I'm not really sure. Just a little subtle bauble so I can go to Walmart and no one notices me. And they
understated.
Or Rob Greer. They're out of Orlando, Florida.
Very nice. Absolutely.
Ooh, we have some more royalty popping in the comment section as well. Miss Jalitza Fierce.
Jalitza Fierce, Miss All-American Goddess at Large. Yes. Hi, Jalitza.
With her my second time competing at Goddess, and she's one hell of a competitor, I have to say that.
So did you compete with her the year she won?
No, the year before.
Yeah. The year before. Okay. Yeah. So yes, Miss All-American Goddess at Large. Yes, ma'am. She was a judge at Miss Pennsylvania when I just competed a month and a half ago. So
absolutely talented. Yes. She's wonderful.
Oh, incredibly. Yeah. Incredibly so. She's trying to get me to run for All-American Goddess at Large.
Yeah, the All-American Goddess pageant is actually held here in Minneapolis. The owner of All-American Goddess, her name is Nikki Vixen, and she actually owns my work. So we have a beautiful theater that we hold the pageant here now every year. It's awesome. So, and I happen to bartend here as well. So I actually was busy bartending, and
nice.
Contestants, and
as long as you have a couch for me to crash on when I compete, I'll agree to do it. 100%, okay.
100%.
That'd be too much fun.
So Dramatica, I want to know what inspires your drag.
Probably the glamorous women of before, you know, like the 1940s, like Hollywood glamorous, just like the old school, like Marilyn Monroe and all of those people. I just love, you know, all of these ladies were drag queens, really, right? Before drag queens were. I love all of that. And actually some of the like drag divas of pageantry also just inspire my drag as well. But I did start doing drag just because I did theater in high school. And this was I decided that this was going to be my outlet for theater, right? And I look at myself as being a lucky actor that I get to play a character that I've created every time I go on stage. So, you know, like Julia Roberts and Richard Gere get paid to be a high-end like businessman and a prostitute or whatever, but I choose who I get to be every time I go on stage. So,
right.
Yep. Amethyst is also a businessman and a prostitute.
I love that.
I'm also a man and a hooker.
Okay. If a paycheck, I'm coming.
Exactly.
Look,
literally.
Honey, if it clears, we're here. Okay.
So we did get a question already from the beautiful Alizayla Diamond. Amethyst's drag daughter would like to know, what was your first title you won and what inspired you to run for it?
My very first title I ever won was actually called The Toast of the Townhouse. So the Townhouse was an old bar that is here in St. Paul, Minnesota. And I had been working at their bar coming up like 6 years at that time. And a couple of my other friends had already won. And it was kind of just something that I wanted to do. And I wanted to be part of the sisterhood. And it was fun. And the very first time I competed, I got last place. And I was like, that's okay. I still had fun. So I'll do it again. And I showed up next year and I won.
Nice.
Yeah, you can't give up. Sometimes you have to lose to know how to win, as the song says. So
you learn more from failures than you do successes, right?
Indeed.
So.
Indeed.
I'm trying to remember the quote now. It's there is no such thing as failure, just early attempts at success.
Correct. And if you learn something at the end of any pageant, even though you didn't win, you still won, right? Like,
Exactly.
in many ways.
If you leave a relationship and it was horrible and crappy, and as long as you learn something from that and you don't make that same mistake, well, you've learned something from it. So
Yeah.
you were meant to have been with that person, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. 100%. Indeed.
Jess has a really fun question here, and I want to answer this one too, just because I like it. Yay Theater, what was your favorite show you ever did?
So I actually grew up in a town of 800 people in Minnesota. I actually had a graduating class of 48, and that was 2 towns of kids put together. So I only did 2 shows, but my favorite one I ever did was called Spit and Miss It Run. And it was this hillbilly farce, and I played the dad. And a lot of it was to like, my 2 daughters wanted to get married and like leave town. And secretly I wanted them to do that too. But I was basically telling them not to do it. So basically it was reverse psychology. Just be like, no, don't do it. But really, like, I was saying don't do it because kids don't ever listen to their parents, basically. And
pretty much.
Yeah. So
I like that.
How about
That's
yours?
funny.
My favorite, we were talking about it a little while ago. I was in a production of Chorus Line, but while that was fun, I don't think that was my favorite. I think my favorite show I ever did was The Lady in Question, a Charles Busch play. We were talking about that a little while ago. Charles Busch, I'm going to reach out to Charles Busch because I would love to have him on the show. He wrote all of these incredible plays and played the female lead in all of them.
I love it.
If you remember the Addams Family movies, Charles Busch was the one crazy aunt after the Mamushka.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, Charles Busch is just incredible. The Lady in Question was set in Nazi Germany, and it's just this over-the-top, ridiculous farce. But it's like a mystery. It was so good.
I love that.
And I played Lottie von Elsner. I was a 12-year-old girl, and I had just turned 32 at the time.
Same, girl.
It was such a fun show. I would do that again in a heartbeat. Oh, the questions are coming in. Alize, I had a feeling Alize would have a lot of questions tonight.
She's on it.
She knows what she's doing. Alize would like to know, what advice would you give new pageant girls in looking for a pageant to compete in?
I guess I would first just watch different videos of different pageants, or if you get a chance to actually go and watch the actual like national competitions.
Oh yeah.
And then also just start competing in them. Like a lot of girls will be like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready. Well, you never know you're gonna be ready until you do it, right? And so many girls are scared of Continental because they're like, oh, I have to wear a swimsuit. Well, you wear a leotard dance costume 5 nights a week. Like, just cut the sleeves and it's the same thing, right? Like,
right. That is so funny you say that.
Grow up and be the best I can, right? Like, so you go and compete in a pageant, right? So whether it's Continental or US of A or your local bar pageant or whatever, right? And I'm so sorry. My phone, it came unplugged.
Oh no.
And you basically are given a set of rules and says, this is what we're looking for, right? So you kind of look at those rules and say, how can I be the best me under these like set of rules, right? And then I go to the next pageant and I decide, well, how am I going to be the best me under like these sets of rules? And then just doing your research and like having fun and just completely just be you at the pageant, right? So I just knew I wanted to compete at Continental because I had went and watched numerous pageants and I had completely fallen in love. And I had my first time at Continental Plus was when Mercedes won. So Taj had crowned Mercedes, and I was actually in the audience the year before watching her get crowned, and I was just infatuated and in awe. And I was like, someday I'm going to be part of this, right? Like, I love it.
I love hearing those stories from people who, were in the audience the year before, just looking up and saying, gosh, I wish that was me.
Right.
And then the next year they were actually on that stage. Like hearing you tell your story, my story was very similar with Miss Gay America. You know what I mean? So it's surreal to be from audience to, standing in the middle of that giant stage and just like, wow, this is actually happening. I'm on this stage. So yeah, I love hearing those stories.
And I started going to Continental just because of the friends that I had. And we were like, let's go there. And they had former drag friends that had competed at Continental or won Miss Continental. But then at that point, I got introduced through that way. And then I just fell in love myself. So,
yeah.
I love that.
So,
I think that's going to be one of my goals for this year. Go see a national pageant.
it's like, to me, I tell everyone, you just need to go to one national pageant and just sit in the audience. And even if you don't like drag, just sit in the audience and watch the crowd react to someone.
Oh, indeed.
I found it sitting in the audience because I'd went to a couple like regular Continental like pageants as well, and sitting in the audience and just watching the audience react to like Jasmine Bonet like walking in a swimsuit down the runway is like absolutely insane, or Erica Andrews or whoever they're acting to, right? Like that's just insane, just watching the audience react to that. Or I watch old Black Universe videos and just like how everyone is just dressed to the nine in the audience, and just they're almost dressed better than some of the contestants on stage to go watch the pageant. I'm infatuated. I've never been to a Black Universe pageant, and I kind of just want to go just to like experience it. It seems very grand. It's awesome.
It's like going to the Oscars.
I love that.
It's like it's just a black and white tie affair.
Yeah, and pageants on top of it, like, so you go and you compete at Miss Gay America or you compete at Continental, and from the moment you check in your hotel, your like mind is on and you're competing from you wake up until the time you go to bed every day while you're there, right? Indeed. Like, because you never know where the judges are going to be, and they're going to be watching you, and they're watching you interact with people in the audience, or all of those things, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't have the pageantry bug. I've never been bitten by that bug, but I've always wanted to be part of someone's team and help them win. Absolutely. I years ago helped a friend of mine compete for a pageant. I was basically brought in. They had a choreographer for their talent number, but they needed emotion. So I was that person who was like, here's the acting tricks you need to do. Here's how you get to perform. It was song that is now on that list of please don't perform that. We were doing This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. But I pushed her and I was like, girl, I want to see you cry. Right. And she was struggling. And so I tore her down a little bit. I was not a nice person to her, but I got her where she needed to go. And afterwards she was like, now I understand why you did what you did. I was like, oh, that was partially for me too.
Right.
So thank you. But
I'm very blessed to have like the friend group that I do, that we're not yes friends to each other. Right? Like we're all if your entire friend group are yes friends, and if they're telling you like you're amazing, you're awesome, and like that's it, and they're never willing to like give you any sort of constructive criticism, and if you yourself aren't willing to hear that constructive criticism, maybe like going into pageantry isn't for you, because you're not mentally in that place to like lose then, right? Like you have to be ready to lose before you're ready to win.
Yeah, that's what we said earlier. One
of the best pageant questions I've ever heard is, everybody comes to this pageant prepared to win. Are you prepared to lose tonight?
Right.
I got that in a pageant, I think. And my response was, am I prepared? Not particularly, because I haven't thought of it. I've been trying to put myself in a different mind space. I know I will lose gracefully if that is what my journey has for me, but I'm not prepared.
There's a time and a place to like break down and say maybe things you wouldn't say in public, like after a pageant, but that's not at the pageant. That's in your hotel room with your friends.
Yeah, keep it together, honey.
Keep it
Keep it
together.
together.
You never know who's going to watch. You never know who's going to be there. You never know. You just never know. And this business is about your reputation, right? Some of these girls have been working forever because of their. I mean, they're also very talented and they're amazing what they do on stage, but it's also their reputation and what they do, like, and how they carry themselves on social media and backstage and when you're just out and about with people, right?
Right. We'll be talking about that later with Derek's helpful drag tip because it's very much in that vein. I did want to take a moment and thank everybody who's popping in and wishing us a happy holidays. The beautiful Krishna Sparks Diamond is watching this evening. The incredible Katie Bourbon.
Bourbon.
Davina just posted Continental is her dream and 10-year plan.
Davina. Ryan Geiger's here.
Oh, Ryan's in? I didn't see him comment.
Yes. One of my favorite people, Chris, is here. Chris Hickey. Hello, sir. I love you.
Pinky is here this evening. Long time no see, Pinky.
And congratulations on the engagement as well, Pinky.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I follow things.
I have been saving the questions. We've got 4 more questions. I'm sure we're going to get more. But Dramatica, people are very excited to ask you questions this evening. I love this.
That's awesome.
And it's mostly Alize because she's got a lot of good questions for you. To all of you, what would you want your legacy to be that you leave behind? Who wants to take that one first?
Ooh.
I tend to be the mom in every group. Like, I just want everyone in my group to succeed. And I never really thought about that way until a couple years ago. I happened to be in Madison doing some brunch gigs with one of my really good friends there. And one of the ladies in the audience, like, we all take pictures with everybody at the end. And they kind of just came up to me and they were like, you're giving off this total, like, mom energy of the group. Like, you're like put together and you just want everything to run smoothly and you want everyone to succeed. And that's exactly who I am. Right. Like, I compete in a pageant and I understand that it's a job application, and when the night you win is your moment. Okay, everyone thinks your give up is your moment. Well, your moment is the night the crown gets put on your head, and then the very next day, that's when your job starts, right?
Clock in.
So at that point, like the day after you win, it's no longer like your moment. It's about like, okay, well, I'm going to go crown Miss Mississippi, so it's gonna be part of her moment, and then Miss Minnesota, and then Miss Alaska, and all of these things, right? My legacy is just to know that I'm just like there for everyone and I want everyone to succeed. And sometimes that's a detriment of myself because I just want like others to be successful.
I think that in itself is success though.
Right. So
yeah,
that's kind of where I've been lately because I'm a director at the New Jersey Renaissance Fair, and I used to be one of the principal cast members. I've been like one of the main storyline characters several times, and moving behind the scenes more and more, I've enjoyed because it's nice to kind of go, they're all getting the applause. I'm sitting in the back of the audience and also getting the applause, right. But I like what I've created. So it's a teamwork thing.
Love it.
Yeah.
Amethyst, what legacy do you want to leave behind?
I mean, I agree a lot with what, Dramatica was saying. I'm generally a happy person. I'm a very simple, very easygoing person. Everything I do is with love. I put out what I want back in the world. Right. My legacy is just kindness and love, and to believe in yourself so much so that you can willingly and selflessly give that to everybody you encounter. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Just peace of mind and humility and kindness and generosity. No matter what you're going through in life. The only way out is through.
Sorry to interrupt.
No.
You know, pageantry also has a sisterhood, and it's not even about like, oh, I won this title, so now I'm part of Miss Maryland America or Miss Heart of America Continental or Miss Toast of the Townhouse or whatever. But it's about the sisterhood of even the people that are competing at the pageant, right? Like,
Cool.
why be a horrible human being to one of your competitors? We're all here for the same thing. At the end of the day, this is just a big show, right? Like,
we
if
all
you're
want the same thing.
categories, we all have 3 numbers to do, right? So if I can help you somehow, or if you can help me somehow, we're just putting on a show for the audience, right? And at the end of the day, if you win, you obviously want people there for your step down. Well, as much as I want to be Miss Continental Plus, if the person that won was just so unbelievably horribly like rude to me, well, I don't want to be part of her like give up, right? Like I don't know.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Also, the person like do unto others as you want them to do unto you. And I'm not trying to get religious because I'm not like a religious person really at all. But like, treat people the way you want to be treated, right? Like,
it's pretty simple.
Right.
It's really simple. You know, the smallest kindness multiplied by millions of people is a big deal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I agree.
And even to this day, after competing for like so many years, it's still, you know, the very first time I competed, I again had no business being there. I was just infatuated, and I left there having a great time. And I was like, I don't look like any of these people, but I need to figure it out. And I want to like do this. It's like, I love it. But even to this day, like even this past Continental Plus, like I sat in the mirror and I was, as my dresser was fixing my hair and touching up my makeup, and I was watching other dressers and hairstylists creating all of these things on these people's head, and just in awe, because I was like, this is amazing, right? Like I'm just, this is awesome. I love it. Sometimes the show is backstage. So
oh God, yes.
That's why we started this.
Yes.
I love it.
God, yes. That's the best part of doing shows is backstage. Oh yes. There's nothing better than that.
And there was also, and I know this wasn't part of the question, but there was this a queen from Carbondale, Illinois. Her name was Jody Santana, and she had made the top 5 at Continental and Continental Elite, and she's competed. And someone was interviewing her years ago, and I truly just kind of agree with her. She was just like, you know, I might not have ever won these titles, but whatever career I have is because of these VHS tapes and these DVDs that people are sitting in the audience either watching it live, or they put the DVD or the VHS tape into their player, and they saw me, and then all of a sudden I get bookings out of it, right? Like,
why not? Whatever it takes.
Drag Race, like if you weren't a one-woman cabaret act like the Lady Bunnies or the Jackie Beats or all of these people, like you did pageants to get your name like outside of the city that you're in, right? So
networking is
right. And it's just fun, right? Like you just never know.
That's what I love about TikTok, honestly. Like TikTok is the new like, hi, I'm just gonna put my drag out there for people to enjoy.
Correct.
And as Fancy Dismount says, TikTok is drag boot camp because it teaches you how to lip sync.
For sure.
It does.
That's actually how we got in touch with each other. Dramatica saw my TikTok and was like, game on, let's do it.
I love it. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Come on. TikTok. I still don't know how to use it, but
yeah,
I guess I'm grateful for it.
Well, I mean, I do add a video now and then, but it's nothing that like is new. I'm clearly using it wrong, but I just will post like 4 pictures together and put like songs behind it. Like, anyways, whatever. But I just watch people on TikTok because it's hilarious to me, right?
I love
it. Yeah, in all honesty, like social media queens get like what's the word? A lot of social media queens get like looked down on from the like performance bar queens because they're like, but you don't really like perform and you don't have all that and whatever. But if I can be successful with vicious like keyboard warriors, I think that takes a lot, right? Like people are more apt to say something horrible like with their keyboard than they are like to your face, right?
Yep.
So.
Well, and look at Sugar and Spice. They were TikTok queens, and they got on Drag Race because of it. Like,
Yeah,
and now they're doing gigs and like,
it's awesome.
you know, it's amazing. Cassie's got a really good question here. And I want both of you to answer this one because this is a good one.
No.
What is your fondest memory of competing aside from winning?
My fondest memory
So
of
this bar, so the
competing.
bar that I was talking about in Madison. This I'm a very horrible storyteller, so I'm gonna just say that up front. So one of the show directors at Five Nightclub had saw me at Continental and said, "Hey, do you want to come work here for Pride?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome." So I went there that weekend, and like, I don't know if y'all know anything about Wisconsin, but like, they love to drink. They love to drink. So this person, I'm so first of all, I want to say I'm an adult, so I had every right to say no, I don't want to drink this, right? But I'm going to have a good time. Well, she had me tipsy and like whatever before the show started, right? And I was like, I still need to do my job, right? So this is leading up to the answer to the question, I swear. So we did the show, and then all of a sudden, like, we were hanging out, and like they kept feeding me shots, and they just got me drunk. And I'm always very concerned about my reputation. Like, that's why I don't like to be drunk when I'm in drag, because I like to be in control, right? Like, I want a couple of drinks just to like soothe the air, but like I still want to be in control, right? Well, I just let it all out that weekend, right? Like whatever. Well, they have volleyball courts there. They do like volleyball tournaments and stuff. Well, apparently I had like stripped down to my tights and a wig, and I was in the volleyball court just posing with pictures, like in my like tights and bra.
As one does. That's okay.
So
As
then
one
a couple
does.
years down the road, I realized like, hey, I had so much fun there that weekend. I want to work there more. And like, I knew their like pageant weekend was coming up, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go, I'm going to just pull stuff out of my closet, win or lose. I just want to work there more. And sometimes you need to spend money to make money. Right. And I was like, even if I get last place, my name is going to be in like these people's like brains again. Right. And like, it was just so much fun just competing with everyone backstage. It was just,
Oh yeah.
I truly think I actually have like more fun backstage with people than I do with like the actual like competition on stage. Like it was awesome. I'm not sure if that answered the question, but
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
How about you,
So,
Amy?
fondest memory competing, probably going to nationals for the first time back in January, and meeting people whom I have only known for well over a decade on social media. To meet those people and have that wow factor, to see them in person, only for them to turn around and do the same thing to me, was just the most weirdest and most exciting thing in the whole world. They're like, wow, you're Amethyst. I'm like, so? Like, who cares? But it's you. So to meet those people whom I've followed and watched on VHS and followed them through their pageant journey, and to finally see them in person and for them to have the same admiration for me was just like it was surreal. So that's definitely my fondest memory from
it's always
competing. So.
very like fascinating to me when like I meet someone and they're like, oh yeah, I've been following your career for years and all these things. And like my thing is that, again, like I told you at the beginning, like I'm a 43-year-old like fat man from like Minnesota that likes hot dish, right? Like that. So it's always it's just fascinating to me that other people look at me differently like that, right? Like
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love what I do, and having those moments with people, it just makes it all worthwhile. It really, really does. It really brings a lot of us together, We get to tell our stories, we get to let out our emotions, we get to express ourselves, and we get to have a voice for people. We get to be superheroes in many ways, to our communities that we represent. So, when we all gather at something that's so major, only to find out that we have that same level of love and appreciation for each other is really heartwarming, and it makes you feel good, and it kind of justifies and validates what we do. So,
And then just to like meet the people and then develop relationships with people.
yeah. Yeah.
I personally love former Miss Gay America's Dexacy's like Facebook Live videos that she does. It's
Stupid. I love
and
her.
I really didn't follow Miss Gay America a lot prior to that. Not in any sort of reason. It's just I just never really did.
Yeah.
And like her wittiness and her funniness and her like candor just made me want to like follow it more and like figure it out. And my very first video I watched of hers was around Christmas time during her reign when she got her first Sunny Diaz like wig and she tried it on and it was just like
Rickon.
It was just like everything to me. And if in all honesty, like I've even told her this to her face. I was like, if I'm ever having a bad day, I will just go to her Facebook page and look through her videos because it's just so entertaining to me. I love it.
And you're bound at some point just gonna.
I love it.
Yeah, I see.
That's gonna show up somewhere.
Yeah.
She's a hoot. She's definitely one of my favorites. So she was the reigning when I became Miss Maryland. So we got very close. I was there I was in the audience the year she won Miss America. Right. So to go back and win my first state level, which was Miss Maryland, to have her be my representation nationally, those moments are so surreal. And they create a bond that is just long lasting.
Right.
So.
I think that's the best part about pageantry, because while you were talking about this, I've never been to a national pageant, but even competing in the Hope pageant, there was no cutting. Like there was like, it was just a beautiful backstage experience. It was Mesra Prince competing for Mr. and myself, Sakura B. Love, Fancy Dismount, and the late Brie McPhee, just having a great time in the dressing room, all kind of like laughing at each other and just
love it.
We had a beautiful time, and that made it worth it.
I love that.
Sometimes you don't want to go on stage. Like you're up next. I'm like, no, I'm having a good time with my sisters. Like, I don't want to go entertain. You go ahead. You do it.
Yeah,
I love it.
So after I won my very first prelim to Continental, so this was in like 2008, I think it was. Former Continental plus Amaya. You know who Amaya is?
Yes.
Competed for Miss Gay America a couple of times too, possibly. She didn't know who I was, and and at the time I didn't know who she was either, right? But she got my phone number from someone, and like she literally called and we talked for like 2 hours on the phone, and she like gave me advice and helped me out, and I was like, if this isn't the like sign that like I chose the right pageant,
right?
Right? Like she didn't know me. She didn't need to do that, right? Like, so that's awesome.
That's amazing. Kendra Lees has a wonderful question here. The new generation of artists is growing. As an artist with great experience, what would you say to that new generation, or what advice would you give them?
Completely stay true to who you are, but be willing to become the like best version of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, not everyone needs to be a glamour queen, right? Or glamour queen, or but that doesn't mean you can't aspire to be the best you, right? Like I was watching a makeup tutorial from someone, and it kind of relates to the question, but they were like, there might not be any rules to artistry, but there's rules to like makeup theory. So even though like there's not a rule to like how you should do your art, but there's also rules to like how you do your art, like surrounding before you go on stage, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so show up on time, be easy to work with,
right?
Be on time, like all of it, like invite people to the show, right? Like, we're all here to make the bar money. At the end of the day, we're here to make the bar money. If we're not making the bar money, they're not going to continue to do the show. Plain and simple, because everything is business these days, right?
How about it?
That's true.
Yeah.
I love that question.
Yeah.
Alize with another question here. Do you have any pointers for someone who is afraid to do question and answer?
Just practice. I do know that interview and question and answer is definitely not my strong suit for sure, only because I get in my head and I watch these people that win question and answer every year, and they're amazing storytellers and they do all these things. So then at some point it's just like, well, I need to do this too. Well, Dramatica, you're not a storyteller, so they want to know what your favorite color is, so tell them it's pink and say thank you, right? Like, instead I have to come up with this story and then it's not good and then I start rambling, right? So practice, fail, and then just learn and like try to get better. There's a couple, LaWanda Jackson and Coffee actually give pageant tutorial, like in interview classes, and it's completely worth like whatever they charge. Coffee is a former US of A large, and she's a former Continental Plus, and I've competed with Coffee a couple of times. And actually, the very last time I competed with her, we were sitting at the baton after the pageant, and I told her, I was like, I just wanted to be in your group so badly so I could sit and interview and listen to you interview the crap out of me so I can understand like what I'm doing wrong. Right? Because she's just, Coffee is one of those like,
she's like Nell Carter.
Your friend. She has one of those smiles that just brightens her whole entire face, and you just want to like pinch her cheeks and just be like, I want to be your friend, even if you don't know her. Right? Just wonderful.
She's a legend.
Right? Like,
very kind-hearted individual.
So I think it's honestly just about practicing when it comes to doing interviews. Just find people in your area if you don't want to take these classes, and just be like, I want you to be brutally honest with me, and I want you to give me critiques. We're going to interview one like right after the other, and I just want you to be brutally honest with me and like tell me exactly what we think, because I just want to get better. The thing about pageants is that like there's a need in you that you want to get better. Otherwise, you're just not going to get better.
It's funny you say this, because earlier today, my dear friend Katie Bourbon and I were chatting on the phone almost all day today, which was great because I got most of my drag room cleaned, but more or less. But we were talking about, we have auditions for the Ren Fair coming up, and we were talking about like when we call and give them their offers of you got on the cast, what are some questions they might have for us and how do we handle them, especially if we don't have the answer right away. And we just practiced on the phone, and it was great.
Right.
So practice.
Yeah, former Miss Continental and former All-American Goddess Tiffany Hunter always had told me that interview is won and lost in the first and last 60 seconds of the interview, right? Like the bulk of whatever can. Now I feel bad. I don't know exactly what she said, but your introduction and your outro need to be like spit perfect, like perfect, and then the rest is kind of just filler.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a category that I hate, but one that I win awards for, which and I totally agree with that. Your introduction and your outro are the most important things in the world. You need to walk in there and you need to tell them exactly why you're here. And then you need to tell them exactly, what you plan to do.
Right.
It's a job application.
And the funny thing is that I can sit on the judges panel of a pageant and understand what a good or bad interview is, but to force myself to actually like be the one to give myself a good interview is a completely different story. Because I get in my head and I just think that they want to hear what they want to hear, and really the judges just want to know who you are as a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about like looking. So the thing about like Goddess and Miss Gay America is that like it is a business interview, and they want to understand that you know how to do the job, and like what are you going to like do for us, and how are you going to help the system grow, right? The thing about Continental is that it's more of a group discussion. So the judges are there just to see how you interact with the other 4 people there, right? So the judges will throw out topics, and it's not really a matter of answering the question. It's you and the other 4 competitors discussing what the judges just said. So they want to just see that you can be a personable person with other people when you're traveling as Miss Continental Plus or Mr. Continental or Miss Continental.
I like that. I didn't know that was how the interview process was for Continental.
Yeah.
That's
I like that.
interesting. I like that.
Yeah, I love
Obviously,
that.
you understand what the job is too for it, right? But
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, know your history. You got to know things like that. You got to be able to name drop when you have to. You know.
And it's also just like no. So with Goddess, interview and talent are the 2 highest scoring categories in the pageant.
Yeah.
So if your talent's amazing and you give a horrible interview, well, you win the pageant.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, here's my thing. In any pageant, if you're going like this, you're never going to win, right? If you're first, and third, and fifth, and ninth, like there's going to be someone that's like second or third in every category that's just going to swoop on in, and no one's going to expect them to win, and then they're going to win, right? Because they were just consistent.
Exactly right. Yep.
Because at the end of the day, it's about those 5 or 7 people saying, "This is what I like." And 5 or 7 different people could look at the same pageant and score differently. At the end of the day, it's about those human beings and how they react to what you're presenting on stage, right? And no matter what anyone says, that's the truth.
I've seen pageants where girls will like, I won this category, she won that category, but it's the girls who didn't take any categories that win the pageant.
Correct.
Win the pageant. Yeah.
Yeah, the year Nicole Love Dupree won Continental, she won no Fire Night category. She was just, everyone else was like this, and she was just like this. And she swept in and won the pageant.
I love that. Consistency.
Yeah. And she's also talented and beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that she didn't deserve it.
Right.
You just got to win the pageant, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Question here from the incredible Alice Ladime. Alice, we should have just had you on the show tonight. When choosing an evening gown, what are some pointers to choose the right one and not go overboard? Ooh.
Depends on the system you're running for.
Right. I think you also know what's flattering for your body. And I think you also know who you are as an entertainer.
Yeah, it has to be an expression of you.
Correct. If you're not the sex goddess, you know what I'm saying? If you're not this beautiful, stunning sex goddess of a creature, don't be wearing a gown with like a slit up to like the top of your leg.
Ooh, coochie.
No, but you like, I'm not into those things. Like it's just about like wearing things that are like flattering for your body and like who like you are and what your character is.
Yeah. More can be less.
Having you and like your like friends with like an eye and saying no more embellishments, or having a designer that you trust with like an amazing eye.
Right. That can bring out your best qualities and features.
Yeah, I was to work with Jade Martin from Dallas, Texas, numerous years that I've competed. And he is just this like artist beyond artist when it comes to like making clothes, and he has an eye and he understands fabric and he understands fashion and he understands like your body and he has a vision. And you can never send him a picture of a JLo dress and say, make this for me. You'll send him a picture of 5 different things and you'll tell him what you like about those 5 different things, and you'll give him color ideas, and then he'll sketch you something based on those 5 different things.
I love evening gowns.
I can just find myself a pageant that just involves wearing clothes. That would be awesome. I love
Wouldn't that be nice? just gowns and gowns.
Yeah, I love that.
Every category is a different kind of gown. Oh, honey, I'm ready.
Yes.
We are
Um,
ready.
our next question is not from Alize. Shocking.
Oh,
Alize, we're going to come back because I see the rest of the questions you have here. So we are going to answer them, but we're taking a little break from Alize's questions. Davina would like to know, so Dramatica, what's your advice for someone who wants to run for Continental, and how is it different from other pageants?
AKA Alize.
Oh, right.
The one thing you need to know about Continental is that it's very fast. And like you won't even understand how fast it is truly until you do it the first time.
Uh-huh.
Truly fast. Prelim night I was contestant I was either 2 or 3 this past year. And this is no joke. I was done competing in 3 categories in 45 minutes.
Wow.
Like gown, swimwear, talent, changed shoes, hair, everything for all 3 categories. Right? So it's about just absolutely just like being prepared, coming with like a dresser someone that you trust, and you either like, to me, it's worth paying somebody. Like, unless one of your friends, you're completely confident with your relationship with your friend and it's like worth it, or like a drag mother, to me, it's worth paying someone. But you two having just this amazing like working relationship during the pageant, and like knowing exactly like what needs to be done in this like hour span or 45-minute span, and just being unbelievably like prepared
You have to have somebody who knows how to anticipate your needs.
in your needs. And just I've worked with a dresser out of Vegas that is originally from Hawaii. Her name is Selena. And even beyond her like talent of like makeup and hair, she used to be a club kid. Beyond her like she's now like a professional like makeup artist, and she's a hairstylist, and she actually creates a lot of like showgirl pieces for people. She's like a boss woman, but she has this energy about her, this very like aloha Hawaiian energy, that it's kind of just like, even if she's stressed, you would just never know. And she just keeps you calm. And she's like, mommy, this is going to be awesome. And we're going to have a great time. And like, I got this. It's just like, whatever she charges is just beyond her talent, is just worth her like positive energy and like her calmness.
Right.
I do have huge appreciations for competing for Continental first, because when I went and competed at Goddess the very first time, it's not fast. You know, like each prelim night is like 4 hours long, right? Like, and it's kind of just like, okay, well, we're going to rush to get ready. And then we do a category. And then now we have 2 hours to do the next category, right?
Yep.
Or that's what it was like the very first year I competed. Now it's just a one-night pageant, which is awesome in my opinion. I think all pageants should be a one-night pageant. But Selena was like, mommy, she's like, we could have went back to your hotel and you could have like showered and took off all your makeup, and we could have like put it back on, and you still would have been ready for your next category, right? So
my gosh.
Like deep down, it doesn't matter what pageant you do, you just need to completely understand exactly what you're getting into, so you can be prepared 150,000%, and come with backups for everything, because you just never know. You never know when a zipper is going to break. You never know when a shoe's going to break. You never know when your earring's going to break. Like, you just never know, right?
That's so true.
You have to have a good dresser.
Right.
Gia Bianca Stevens has joined us. Hi, Sissy Pants. Hi, Sissy Pants.
Team one night pageants all the way.
Agree. Because it's like,
absolutely,
like a lot of times prelim nights, as like an audience member, like I don't even want to go watch prelim night, because it's almost just like a lot of people are just holding back because they've invested all of this into final night. And I can be just as like, and I'm not including myself in this, right? Like, we all do it, right? We put the most effort into our final night package.
Mm-hmm.
But even if there's 30 contestants, right? Like, one night, Like winner take all. That's it.
I love seeing the girl, that especially everybody wants to do their best on final night. Well, when I make final night, I'm going to do this, that, and the third. But what happens when you don't? You know what I mean? If you have something that is a wow factor, that is going to just be a showstopper, give it to me on night one. You know what I mean? Because if it is worthy of winning, it's going to win no matter
Right.
what night you do it on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that could make or break. I hate seeing the girls that don't make the top 10 saying, "Oh, I had a better gown. Oh, I had a better talent." It's like, well, girl, then you should have, could have, would have done that on Wednesday, because because now we're in the audience watching
Right.
this thing take your crown. So
And pageants not being as popular as they were.
right.
Right. You also need to like keep up with the Joneses, right? So then at that point, it's just like, at some point you need to also start being accommodating to your contestants as well.
Indeed.
And to
Sure.
me, not a need for a 2-night pageant.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to be part of the family and it's a 2 or 3 night pageant, I'm going to do it one way or the other.
Sure.
But I mean, like in life, you do things you don't like, right?
Exactly.
I also know that I'm not a dancer, so I'm never going to be that person that's going to do a solo talent at like a national pageant prelim night thinking that, oh, I'm going to just make it, and now I've paid for 12 backup dancers for final night, right? Like, I'm just not that person, right?
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of money one way or the other, but
On them giggity gowns, honey, on the gowns.
So,
on the gowns.
But I love it.
Speaking of, interesting question here from Frank, the incredible Regina Holiday. Would like to know, I often hear queens who have done pageants say they cater their package to what the judges want to see, but also hear others say they remain 100% themselves. As someone who is interested in doing a pageant, this is confusing. How do you balance the two?
Pageants have categories. It's not necessarily who is judging. The judges are who they are. Each pageant system has subcategories and categories in black and white saying what they are looking for. It gives you what they're looking for. So if you can mold that into who you are, then that's what they're looking for.
Right.
But just to say the judges, that's not what they were looking for.
Right.
They were looking for what they were told to look for.
Right. Yeah, and it's never about it's about what I said prior to about trying to find like the best you under like these parameters, right? Sometimes you need to slightly tweak something about yourself to win, and then you can kind of just be yourself like during your reign and maybe like show them that this is who it is, but like you need to do something slightly different to like get the job. Right?
Yeah.
I had a entertainer that we've been chatting on Facebook for a while, and she was wanting advice about pageants, and she's trans and she doesn't have her body done and she doesn't wear hip pads, and she's concerned about clothing categories and all these things. And I was just like, I understand you don't wear hip pads and like breast forms during a show. So this is a perfect example. During a show. But at the end of the day, you're now competing in two categories of this pageant that basically are looking for some sort of shape in your clothes. So you
Fancy,
now
baby.
adjust yourself for 3 hours this one day to like fit the mold of this.
Give them the fantasy, baby.
Right.
They don't want to see the truth.
Yeah. I hate wearing nails. It bothers me. Every pageant I have competed in, I've worn nails.
Right.
Because
This is the only time I don't. This is the only time I don't is on the show.
It's that Wednesday night drag.
I don't wear long nails at all. I just wear like short length, like press on nails or whatever. And I just make a joke about it. I was just like, yeah, I'm going to play tennis later, and these long nails are going to keep me from like playing tennis. So I just wear these like short sport length nails because I'm very sporty, and I'm clearly not sporty. But
I love that answer though.
You're going to go play ping pong down at the fire hall.
Right.
Exactly. Like a real woman.
Like real women do. Indeed. Oh,
So
this is.
we have a
I
few
love.
more questions here.
Okay,
They're all from Alize.
she must
It's
be
almost
competing
like,
for something soon.
yeah, Alize seems to be like getting ready for something. I don't know what that is.
At least
Um,
she has a good dresser. That's good.
that's true. Would you encourage reaching out to formers in the system you want to run in to see what advice they give you?
100%.
Absolutely. That's
And then,
what they're there for.
right. And then also reach out to the judges after the pageant. Like every year that I've competed at any pageant, like I've made sure at some point during the week I've introduced myself to the judges and I have some sort of like relationship with them. And even with like a lot of the contestants I've competed with or formers, and like I've just reached out and said, hey, I just want to get better for next time. So what do you think? Right?
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. There is
That's
definitely nothing. I did the same thing after I got home from Miss America. I talked with Tommy Ross on the phone for hours. You know what I mean? It's Tommy Ross. You know
wrong.
what I mean? Like, of course I'm going to take any advice. If she told me to quit drag, I probably would have. You know what I mean? It's when you're sitting in front of legendary people like that, and they're there to judge you. They're not just there to critique you and make you feel bad. They want to see you succeed. They want to see you grow.
Of course.
So yes, reach out to them. Absolutely, especially multinational title holders and legends in pageantry. Absolutely. They will always be more than happy to get your message in their inbox.
And
Absolutely.
I think like that's perfect advice for just growing your path in general, right? Like at some point we're all in the entertainment business. So as humble as we all are, there's also some portion of us that we're grand and we think we're the divas at some point, right? Otherwise we wouldn't be going on stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's nothing wrong with saying thank you for that advice. I will take that into consideration instead of just being like butthurt about it, right? Like you don't need to take their advice, but you can just be like humble and say like thank you, I'll think about that for next time, right?
Yes. Yes. That's how you grow.
That's how you grow, right?
I love feedback. Like feedback is wonderful.
Yes.
And it, like you just said, feedback is how we grow.
Correct.
Yeah. Oftentimes they give you a perspective that you weren't thinking about. And whether or not you might agree or find that to be a popular opinion of what you presented, it is a area that you did not think about.
Correct.
That makes you go, why did they feel that way? And then you look at it and you're like, oh, okay. So yeah.
100%.
And it's okay to, like, especially after a pageant, it's okay to say, I'm not in the right headspace to accept this kind of critique right now. That's okay to say too, because mental health is a real thing.
100%.
You know what I mean? Sometimes after a pageant, you don't want 5 people to say, well, blah, 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 blah. You can say, I'm not here right now, but can we schedule a time afterwards, maybe in a week, to accept the critique? So, but yes, critiques are so important.
And
so important.
They're also exhausted after the pageant. They've now sat in that chair for 4 hours and they had to be mentally on for 4 hours and watch this, right? Like at least when we as competitors or we as spectators go and watch a pageant, we could be like, oh, okay, well, and not pay attention to half of it if we don't want to. But they have to like mentally pay attention to all of this for 4 hours, right? Like,
it's a lot.
As we are.
It's a lot. And one of the most important things in critiques is you as the contestant are not there to talk back.
Correct.
Do not waste your time with judges' critiques trying to say, well, this is what I was trying to do. Well, this is what I was going for. Don't say a thing in critique. You are there to sit there and listen. That's it. Your feedback is not warranted or welcome.
Yeah.
The only thing you should be saying is thank you.
Right. Thank you. You can agree to disagree, but keep that to yourself.
Right.
Yep. Next question.
How you doing?
When putting a team together for a pageant, what are some things you should know beforehand?
Friends do not always make the best teammates when it comes to pageantry. Whether they say, you're amazing, got your back, friends are the first ones to bail on you.
Right.
So hire professional people who know what they're talking about, who have the resume to prove that they know what they're talking about, and not just your best friend from kindergarten.
Right.
Because, baby, they gonna cancel on you.
And when you
Friends,
like
yeah.
so on that, like when you're also like choosing a choreographer, like choose someone that like you like trust and you want to like work with, right? Like I choose to work with AJ like dancers like Alberto because like he choreographs your number for your abilities. Where
Oh,
some
that makes me
choreographers
so happy.
choreograph it for like theirs and their dancer's ability, and then they expect you to keep up, right?
I
Like
love that.
I like I don't even know where the beat of the song is, to tell you the truth. Like I don't know where the beat of the song is, right? Like, and I have friends, and one of the head judges one year at Continental said, like, I asked him like what they thought, and he's like, Dramatica, you were never really like on the beat or off the beat. He was like, you were kind of just like somewhere like in the middle.
You got there eventually.
And the funny thing is that a month prior, one of my friends told me like almost verbatim the exact same thing, right? So like you just need to find like a hairstylist and people that design clothes and your choreographer like you completely trust and like and sometimes you don't know that you can trust them until you work with them too, right? Like you also just like don't know. But I do have to say I've had nothing but like an amazing time that every time I've worked with Alberto and like his like troupe of dancers, because they make you feel like you're Beyonce.
Right.
Even if somewhere in the back of their head they think that you're the biggest gut bucket mess, they will be there in the side of the stage waiting for you when you get there, and they're literally cheering you on, and they're cheering
Right.
you in the audience, and they make you believe that you're Beyonce.
As long as I can stand there and look gorgeous, y'all can run around me and do the dancing, okay?
Good evening.
You guys move, I will be stunting right here.
But yeah, they're all just so sweet, and they're just so talented, and like,
Good. I can't wait to work with them next year.
so like you should absolutely work with them.
Oh, honey. Check mark.
Speaking of that, I want to give a huge shout out to the DeQuest family because they are very similar. Like they are so like they're such a loving, supportive drag family, and they are a treat to work with. So Kendra Leese
Yes.
was watching this evening. Yeah, the DeQuests.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, they are a tribe. They are a force to be reckoned with. They helped me win Miss Gay Maryland America. So
That's awesome.
yes. Yeah, much respect for their whole family.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And
Indeed.
the first time I worked with Alberto, like he himself is like a machine. Like he will sit up in the Park West balcony with like you basically give him all of your backup dancers' costumes, and he
Yeah.
literally, you know, like sometimes he works with 4 or 5 competitors, whatever. But everything is like steamed, ready to go, hung on a hanger, and he'll be like, you, go put this on and go stand over there. It's literally like you never have to worry about them being too drunk. They will be there where they need to be. Like it's beyond professional. Like beyond
That's
professional.
good to know.
Yeah,
That's good to know because I'm about to drop a lot of money for them. So
All right. We've got 3 more questions.
Go to rehearse with him as many times as you can physically afford, but he rehearses with the dancers once a week, and they record it and they'll send you their rehearsals so you can like practice at home like with them. But you can go to Chicago really as like much as you want to rehearse with them.
oh, well, now I'm excited.
Yeah, they're like amazing, and they're all just so nice, and they're just so sweet, and like the more you work with them, the more you get to know them. Like they literally just like become your friends. Like they're awesome.
Oh,
And they're like in it to win it with you. Like whatever kind of talent you want to do, like they're in it to win it with you, right? Like
let's do it. I'm down. Now I'm excited.
yeah, the very last time I literally had like I think the term was 6 counts. I don't even know what it was. I don't know. Maybe it was 100 counts. I have no idea. Because again, I don't know where the beat of the song is, but like it was like a majority of my talent was all like staging and like doing all these things, and there was like 6 counts that I literally had to do something with the dancers, and I wasn't getting it. And finally Alberto was like, This is 6 counts. This is literally the only thing you need to do. You have to figure it out. It's awesome.
Well, that's good. I want somebody who's going to push me,
Well, he will completely push you. Like, he'll completely push you.
Push you, but realize your limitations as well.
Yeah, like if you're not a queen that does splits and kickball changes and all these things, he's never going to create something like that for you.
Okay, that's good.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's reassuring.
And he wants your input too.
Okay.
So
I like that. Mm-hmm. So we've got 3 more questions here.
But he won't. Sorry, then we can move on.
It's okay.
But he won't tell you what your talent should be.
Right.
Like, you can't go to him and be like, "Oh, I don't know what I want to do."
Yeah.
Because he's not going to tell you what you should do.
Right.
Be in it to win it, and he'll like help you be in it to win it. But like, he's not going to tell you what to do.
You have to at least bring him an idea to help mold and conceptualize your vision.
And his strength is creating the huge picture on stage. Teaching people things as talented people, but his true talent is creating like this huge picture on stage. So
good to know.
And he worked with a lot of winners in like almost probably every pageant system at this point. So
yeah, he's worth the money.
So
like if you would like to sponsor me, my Venmo's right now.
I can do that. There it is. Amethyst _diamond.
That's what it is. Send me a quarter or two. Be great.
All right, we got 3 more questions. We're going to answer Derek's and then both of Alizé's.
Lovely. Both of Alizé's.
So Derek would like to know, this is my lovely husband, by the way. Dramatica, what are your thoughts on RuPaul's Drag Race former contestants competing in national competitions? Do you feel like their celebrity gives them an advantage or actually hurts them because they come with expectations?
I actually don't think it does either. I know Silky's competed for Continental Plus numerous times. And Silky has competed a couple times even prior to going on the show. I mean, Silky was a star one way or the other, right? Like she has the like star personality, right? Beyond her talent. Deep down, I don't think it helps or hurts. At the end of the day, you still need to come with a pageant for them to say, yes, I can put the crown on your head. Right? So truly, I don't think it like gives anyone the edge or it even hurts them at all.
I've chatted with one. Go ahead. Yeah, I chatted with one gal who did well in pageants, and then after doing television, she actually had trouble in pageants, but I think she's back on her way again.
Right.
In the pageant world.
Oh. I also just think it's also sometimes just about like a reputation you might have, right? Like if you come in with like a horrible reputation through the country for being difficult or whatever, unless you are undeniably no questions asked the winner, you're also again dealing with human beings that might have some sort of preconceived notion about you. Right? And we're all human beings and we all have preconceived notions of people, right? So unless you're unbelievably like unquizzably like the winner, like you're dealing with humans, right? So I don't know. Does that make sense?
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, and there
on Drag Race hurts or helps you when it comes to like winning a pageant.
And there are girls who have been on the show that got the villain edit, as it is called, that I've worked with afterward, and were wonderful. An absolute treat to work with. And I'm going to celebrate her for a minute. The Vixen, wonderful person to work with.
Sure.
And she got such a villain edit on Drag Race, but like I've worked with her once, but in that one time, I wasn't getting ego. I wasn't getting anything. Like she was just a wonderful person to work with.
The thing we all have to remember about that show is that it's just a TV show.
Yep.
They might happen to be in drag, but the producers are casting a show, right? So at some point there has to be the villain of the show, and there has to be this person in the show, and there has to be the motherly person in the show. There has to be all of those characters, right? And at the end of the day, editing can push that person's story along, right? So then it's about, like Fifi has been interviewed numerous times, and she said, like she didn't deny anything she did, because she did everything she did on the show, because she's a competitive, strong person, and she went into it like, I'm going to do anything I can to win this show because I want to win. But she said it took a long time for like the world to like realize she wasn't that person that she, one, portrayed, but two, the editors decided she was going to be the villain of the show, right? So they edited it to push her villain edit as far as they possibly could.
Yep.
And now when you talk about people from season after season, when someone's the villain of the show, they now say, well, you're the Fifi of this season, right? So maybe it wasn't bad that she was the villain, because now
she lives forever.
We're all still talking about her, right? Like,
now she lives forever.
Correct.
Yep. In tonight's episode of Inside the Drag Closet with special correspondent Alize LaDiamond, her next question would be, because we have 10 minutes left. This went by so fast. Would you recommend going to another prelim right away with the same package if you don't place on your first attempt?
Within the same pageant system?
I think so.
I think the moment you qualify, you just need to accept your placing. Right? Like,
yeah.
To me, at the end of the day, like, let's say the difference between the prize package of the winner and first runner-up is $500. Well, you're going to spend $500 going to the next pageant.
Yeah.
Right? So to me, the moment I qualify, win or lose, you qualify and you just go with it. The year Natasha Douglas won Continental Plus, she was second runner-up at her prelim. You don't need to win the prelim to win nationals. You just need, you go to that prelim to get your ticket to go to nationals. And then there's also like being Miss Texas US of A is a very big deal, right? So some girls, just like in Missouri, some girls just want to be Miss Missouri US of A because it's a big deal in Missouri to be that. And it's a big deal to be Miss Texas US of A, right? So some girls want to be Miss Texas US of A, but they don't care if they ever win Miss Gay US of A, right? Same thing with Wisconsin. It's kind of a big deal in Wisconsin to be Miss Wisconsin US of A, right? So I just think you should just accept your fate. And if you don't qualify, and if going to nationals is that important to you, like, look at the judges' critiques. As long as what you brought is fixable, fix it and use the same package, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely an important thing to notate, is take your critiques, apply them, and then move forward. You know what I mean? If they say your talent was terrible and you should probably try something else, then maybe that's what you should do. But if they say, we really enjoyed your talent, however, if you just did this, apply that and then move forward. You know what I mean? So, and every talent isn't for every system.
Right.
Every gown isn't for every system.
Right. And not every talent is for every entertainer.
Very much that. You have to do what you're good at. What's very natural to you.
Erica Andrews was an actress, right? Not everyone's an actress, and there's nothing wrong with that, right?
That's right.
Shay Shay is a dancer. Kitty Later was a dancer. All of these things, right? So it's kind of just like, you can't be someone you're not.
Exactly.
Right.
And we have one last question. And this one, I know how I feel about it, but this is do you think it's okay to ask for sponsorship?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think competitors need to know the difference between a promoter and a sponsor, first of all.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the owners of your prelim are only required to give you whatever that contract says that you signed at the beginning of the night, right? So if your prize package was $1,000 and a trip and like a flight to nationals, that's the only thing they're required to give you. If out of the love of God, if they want to give you more, well, that's on them. Right. But I also feel like there's nothing wrong with like asking for help. Right. Like, there is something wrong about asking for help and then taking that money and not going to the pageant. That's another thing. But at the end of the day, if you want to ask for help, like people can just say, no, I don't want to help you. Right. Like,
Right.
Yep.
As long as you are showing that you're doing everything you possibly can, you know, to be self-sufficient,
correct.
and you have something that other people want to believe in and want to help see you succeed in,
Correct.
you know, you have to show that you're humble and that you're taking this very seriously and that this isn't just your everyday, you know, little hobby you got on the side, that this is actually serious. You know, those are the things that sponsors are going to look at. So,
and I also go, before I do any prelim, I also have a plan of how I plan to like pay for my national package. Like I have a complete budget set before I go into my prelim saying, okay, I have $10,000 to spend. I have $5,000 to spend. I have $15,000. Whatever that dollar amount is. And I already kind of have a plan set and forth of how I'm going to like try to come up with that money before I even go to my prelim.
yeah. Yeah. You have to have a plan first.
Correct.
Because, you know, if you go to somebody and say, I would like you to sponsor me, and they say, what's your plan? And you go, they're going to be like, no, thank you. But
Right.
if you go to them and say, ta-da, they're going to be like, oh, you've already thought this out. So yeah, you take this seriously, so I'm going to take you seriously.
But
Yeah.
We're all humans and we all can do whatever. Right? Like your point of view, like I think we're both saying the same thing, just in different sort of ways, right? Anyone can ask anything you want, right? Like
Sure.
That person that has no plan could go up to everyone in the world and say, will you sponsor me? That doesn't mean that person's going to sponsor you. Anyone's going to, because of like what you said, but that doesn't mean you can't.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Absolutely.
But I 100% agree with you. Like I go into a prelim before I even like win or lose it with the idea of how am I going to pay for my national package?
Right.
And if I'm in a mental place of like, okay, so for the next 5 months, like I'm going to be exhausted and burnt out and have no social life because I have to work 40 extra shifts to pay for all this and do whatever, I don't compete in the pageant.
Right. Don't go broke doing drag.
Like mental headspace, that coming up with all of the funds for that is just as hard as competing.
It sure is. Sure is.
The only place I get a little tripped up is when people have benefit shows for themselves to go to the national pageant. And I think that's just on me. Like it is something about it just rubs me the wrong way. Be prepared to go without doing a benefit show for yourself. But if you're already determined on going and then you're like, I need to raise the money so I can go, then you shouldn't have gone.
Right.
And I could be wrong. That could just be me internalizing, but like.
No, you're absolutely right. But if you're going to do those things, you should also be having benefits and raising money for other charities that are not you.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's it, because we do, as drag performers, we do a lot of benefit shows, but when it's a benefit show to benefit yourself, something about that rings hollow.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
There's an entertainer here in Minneapolis. Her name is Mary Brewster, and she's been doing drag for like quite a long time, but for like the last 25 or 30 years, she's raised money. She has this organization called Triangle of Hope, and they raise money for people living with HIV and AIDS, and more specifically, they raise money for this home where originally people basically went to die of AIDS, but now they're going to like, with, you know, the creation of all of these wonderful medications, now people are going to like succeed in this home as well, right? But they basically raise money to like supply things for all of these homes through Minneapolis. And like I've with her for like the last like 20 years, and she's raised like an insane amount of money like for that. It's awesome. She has one of those like spirits and personalities that when she asks, like, you just want to say yes because she's just like a humble, like wonderful human being on top of it, right? Like,
I love her already.
And she hosts other shows throughout the city that aren't even necessarily benefit shows, but like you just want to work and be around her because she just is this like wonderful human being.
I love her already. That's the legacy I want to leave behind right there. Going back to that question, I want to be remembered as the person that people always wanted to be around and near.
Right.
You know, just for my aura and my presence and for my joy and my peace and my happiness and my humility, because it's free and addictive. So, you know, that's the legacy I definitely want to leave behind. And segueing into that, tomorrow I am dropping off a check to Lancaster County Toys for Tots for $2,700.
Awesome.
It was raised a couple weeks ago at our show in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. Myself, my daughter Alizayla Diamond, Shanae St. Cartier from Philadelphia, and Tamia Giselle Michaels from Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. We all did the Mean Girls skit, the Jingle Bell Rock skit from the movie. And in 7 minutes, we raised $1,350. And then a very special friend of mine offered to double everything that we made. So tomorrow we are dropping off a check for $2,700 to Toys for Tots. So very happy to be a part of that. So yes, drag is not a crime.
Exactly.
So
you know,
yes.
we have a Drag is Not a Crime hoodie available at JadeDeVere.com.
Oh my gosh, would you look at that? Would you look at that?
How much does a segue?
Getting
Man, we just bounced off all that, didn't we? Love that.
Topic, I don't know who was getting interviewed, but they said they're like, you know, like it was on the topic of like drag is a crime and like drag queens are basically
crap
doing bad things to like kids and all these things. And someone was like, but kids just look at drag queens as being like a Disney princess, and it has nothing
they
to
really do. They're so sweet, especially at Pride.
Fun, right? It has nothing
So
to do with like sex. They just think that we're Disney princesses and princes, right? Like,
I want to take a picture with the princess. I'm like, okay.
Exactly.
Just got a request for that hoodie.
Buy our merch. There you go. www.JadeDeVere.com/merch.
Yep.
Yes.
We will hopefully be having
new chest.
Right. We will be having new merch coming out sometime after the new year. I did get us a new cartoon logo, so I think I'm going to share that with everyone before we get to the drag tip. But I don't even know if I think Amethyst has seen this already, but I'm very excited that the new image is going to be this shenanigans right here.
Oh,
yes.
I love
that. I love it. Look, that is us.
It
the
is
makeup
so us.
right. Our skin tones are correct. I love it.
We have had so many artists who they get creative with skin tones. But this artist, I found them on Fiverr. Their name is Rock Draw, and they have just been incredible. So that will be the new
stickers.
Merch. We do have stickers. We have T-shirts. We have hoodies. We still have bum bags or fanny packs.
Bum bags.
Oh my God, bum bags. I love that.
I can keep my medications in there. I think I might get one of those.
I keep my candy in there. It has the days of the week listed on it. But before we part for the evening, we do have one last thing we have to go over, and that is Derek's helpful drag tip. And this one we've already kind of touched on a little bit, but this one is a doozy, and I am excited about it. Derek's helpful drag tip. Even with so many drag artists today, the drag community is still pretty small. Tales of your bad behavior will often enter the room before you do, and you never know who may be in the room when the tea is being spilled. Promoters, owners, and those in positions of power will find out how you treat bartenders, guests, other performers, DJs, stagehands, etc., and write you off before even meeting you. There is so much more to being bookable than looks and or talent, and there is no no shortage of easy replacements for you. It's not gatekeeping, it's business. It is holding you accountable.
That one's juicy, and my cup overflowing.
Dramatica, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I also find it fascinating when people are upset when bars expect things out of you. And we all just need to remember that, like, every bar requires something different.
Yes.
So if I want to work at Lush where I'm working, I have to be prepared to greet people at the door and help change in ones and then be available for pictures. And I need to turn my music in early and I need to do all of these things, right?
Professionalism.
Work at a different bar and they might not expect any of that. Well, then if you don't want to do these things that a specific bar is expecting of you, then just don't work there.
Then don't work there. It's that simple. You know what I mean? And if you're unwilling to do those things, there's something wrong.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite parts of Divas Down Under is when Amethyst and I do the seating.
Yeah.
We run our asses around in that building. But it's fun because we get to kiki with the audience beforehand.
And the guests love it. It's like when, to me, I tell people, it's like when the general manager of a restaurant just comes up and says hello to you, even if you weren't complaining. They just want to like talk to you and make sure that everything's okay. It makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that because honestly, I feel like I make more money when I do that. You know, I come from before drag, I was fine dining and hospitality. I want to say hello to you. I want to see your face. I want you to know who I am because when I come out, they're going to go, "Oh, that's the one that sat us. Let's give her a 20." You know what I mean? So
sure.
Yes, and I like that connection with the people that pay my bills. I do this for a living, so you know, who am I to not want to say hello or take a picture with somebody who's paying my bills? You know what I mean? So yeah, respect.
But yeah, again, like what he said, show up on time and be easy to work with. Say hello to everyone, chat with people. These are all things that more than like whatever you do on stage, people will remember. And like, that's what gets you rebooked. Not because you can do 20 death drops on stage or because you have a beautiful costume.
Nobody cares about that. You know what I mean? Throw your body on the ground.
Right.
They want that connection. When I was Miss Central PA Pride, my mister was Big Daddy. And he just made a connection with everybody he was performing for.
Right.
And it took him an hour to get around that room. But everybody that held out $1 for him, he made love to you with his eyes.
Right.
And I left that year pregnant. And
oh, hell.
Oh, yeah. But Big Daddy he knew how to play, and he was down to earth. He was wonderful in a dressing room. Just
right.
And
snatch $1 out of someone's hand. Ever. I'm not saying you kiss them, I'm like whatever, but like there's some sort of like whether you like grab someone's hand of a little bit or like give them a nod or an extra eye look, there's like something about saying like thank you for you choosing to appreciate what I'm doing. Because at the end of the day, it's just like being a server and a bartender, right? Like, well, you're not required to get tipped.
Yeah.
You're not required to get tipped. So you just need to be gracious when you do get tipped, right? And say thank you, right? So like you just need to look at this as being I'm a server and a bartender. So like I say thank you when someone's leaving and when someone tipped me. So why wouldn't you have some sort of thank you when someone's doing your number, right? Like
exactly. And honestly, it's a great way to slow down and be a storyteller. You know what I mean? You don't have to break character to grab $1, but it almost controls your entertainment. You know what I mean? It allows you to think what your next move is. It allows you to pace yourself and actually entertain people. You have to use that as a tactic. You know what I mean? You can't just be out there snatching dollars because then guess what? You still got 5.5 minutes, boo. What you gonna do?
Right.
You know?
And every whether it's a dance mix or a ballad has a story. So at the end of the day, we're telling a story one way or the other, right?
Yes, make me feel something.
Right.
I want to feel something. That's what people remember. They don't remember your name or what you wore or your backflips. They want how you make people feel is how people remember you.
Correct.
That's your legacy.
Right.
Yeah. And if you're just doing stunt after stunt after stunt, they're going to remember the stunt, but they're not going to remember who did them.
Right.
Like if you're moving so fast they can't see your face, you could be any nameless drag performer up there.
Right.
That's right.
Ooh, that came out spontaneously. If you move so fast they can't remember your face. I'm writing that down. Put on a t-shirt.
She's writing lyrics to her first EP.
I'm putting out an album.
There you go, girl.
It's called Putting Out. I don't know.
It's called Legacy.
It's my retirement album.
That's okay, honey.
Well, we have gone 10 minutes over, as we typically do, but that's all right.
Pipsies.
This was such a wonderful evening. Dramatica, I'm so glad we got to share this evening
100%.
with you. Thank you for spending time with us.
100%. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Anytime. Honestly, I feel as though I was talking to myself. if I know that sounds like a backwards compliment, but I feel like I am like we are very much alike in very many ways. We come from old school drag. All of us are pretty much the same age. You know, we're pretty much born within the same 3 weeks from each other. So, like, you're definitely somebody who I could sit in a room and just talk to all day long about anything and everything. So, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It was very, 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 very special to have you here for our last show of the year.
I hope you all have a happy new year, and thank you for all the questions, everybody.
Absolutely.
Amethyst, do you have any last words for everybody who's watching? Take your time because I'm trying to get a promo picture from our next guest.
Oh, I see.
Talk
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Inside the Drag Closet.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Seriously.
I'm kidding. Was that too much? That was too much.
Oh, well,
Okay, kids. Look, I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. However, and whatever you celebrate, I'm glad you're here. I hope it was filled with love and warmth and laughter and kindness. And reflect on this year and know that you made it. You made it through, and you are still here, and you're still standing, and that matters, and that you matter. Take love and an open mind into the next year, and make it yours because it belongs to you and only you. Know that we love you. Know that we are so grateful for your support, and your love, and your generosity, and your kindness. And we will see you next year. And let's grow as a community, and let's grow together as a family. So I love you, and may 2024 bring you kindness and love and luck and prosperity. So
Happy New Year, everyone. And remember, when you wave like you're somebody, because we all are somebody. So.
Oh, I love that. That is beautiful. Dramatica, it was an absolute joy having you here this evening. This is one of those moments where I'm just like, every episode, I'm like, we're making new friends. We're just getting to know new people.
More seats at our table, honey.
More seats at our table. You know, once we get our Inside the Drag Closet tour, we will be able to come and visit.
Travel all the cities, and our guests are our sisters.
That would be awesome.
Our cast in every city.
Exactly. But well, I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna do this another way.
You're doing
make
great.
sure you tune in. Our first show of the new year will be on January 10th, where our guest will be the incredible Dove Daniels, who is the co-owner of Cirque du Soleil and resident show producer at Club Verse in SLC. What is SLC?
Salt Lake City, Utah.
It is Salt Lake City, Utah. That is right. So yeah,
Used to work at Shimmer.
Really?
Bartender at Shimmer, yes. Alexis.
Yes,
yes. We know them.
I felt so bad because I've gotten so sidetracked by the holidays that I was like, I need to reach out to them ASAP. And it just
Gia Bianca too.
Oh, really? Oh, that they're friends on Facebook. That makes sense. Oh, here we go. Got some pictures. Okay, this is
now
the picture.
We're ready. It's happening.
I'm gonna put it in this folder for now, and then I have to upload it. And StreamYard is great, everybody.
You're doing an awesome job.
We were having so much fun. Dramatica and I were talking about StreamYard, and it's You get to sit back and relax and just enjoy the show. Jade
That's it.
DeVere sits here and stresses out the entire show trying to get it together.
Yes, he does.
But make sure you tune in January 10th to meet the incredible Dove Daniels.
Yes.
Oh, my nerves.
Right?
We have a lot of catching up to do.
Oh, yeah.
It's only been 17 years.
Giving some very Frankenfurter vibes, and I love it. But everybody, take care of yourselves. I want to say some of our people who were very close to us when the show started, we've kind of drifted a little bit. They went through a very tragic loss this week. So keep your loved ones close. Be safe as we're coming up to New Year's. Make good choices so you can come home safely.
Yes.
That's all I can say without crying.
Hey, thank you.
Take care, everyone.
See you next year.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on Inside the Drag Closet.